everybody, hope you're all well. So today I want to do or try a little something with a Valentine's theme, because I've noticed a little competition on the Facebook page Polymer UK and Ireland, and I want to see if I can make anything that I can use as an entry for that, maybe. So we'll see. So I've got a little idea, and I'm using today my retro texture plate and a heart, obviously for Valentine's. This is the biggest in my set of hearts. Now the colours that I'm using, this I found, I have no idea why it's not in its wrapper, so I have no idea what it is, but it's not glitter red. It looks like cherry, but it has this kind of glistening sheen to it, so it's an effect one, but like I say, not sure. It's nice and soft still. I can't even remember using it, to be honest with you. So I am going to use that up. So you need any kind of red and any kind of white, and this one I have chosen mother of pearl just to get that nice little sparkly extra. And what you're going to want to do is a skinner blend between these two colours. So I'll pop off and get that done. Just use equal parts, and then when that's done, I might actually film it and speed it up. Let's see if I can get my editing skills on the go. I'm learning, but I'm picking it up, so let's try that, shall we? So I'll see you at the end of that. There we have our blend. So I've got a nice kind of ombre effect going between the colours. So what I'm going to do is just square up this sheet a little bit now. And I'll just take a bit off the end there, because I won't be using that anyway. And I'm going to give my fingers a quick wipe, because it's trying to find a wet one. This red really does transfer to the white. Okay, all set. So what I want to do is cut this in half, roughly. I'm going to take just square that bottom piece off as well. It just makes for a better little finish. So I want to turn that around, and I don't want to put this on top like that, because what will happen is you'll get a bit in the middle that's very, very similar, and I don't want that for the effect that I want, that I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift the piece down so that the ombre colour, that the shift between the white and the red on the bottom meet at the same point as the shift between the white and the red at the top. I hope that makes sense. So not like this, like this, and then lay that over. And then you can trim off the excess. So I do want this to be longer. Can you see the effect that you've got in there? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pass it through on a number 2, just to stretch it out a little bit for me. And then I've got a little bit of room to work with. Let me get my perfect. Okay. So now you're going to need this that you've just chopped off. So I'm going to run that through the pasta machine quickly and I'll meet you back. Bit of a mishap with my camera there. So I've failed to record the last bit of footage, so I'll just backtrack a little bit of what I'm doing. This is the backing that I've just whizzed back together, and before I put my Skinner blend on it, I want to do the imprint, and you want to get it in the centre as much as you can with the ombre effect going down the centre as much as you can, and make sure that you get it as deep as you can as well. I like to try and get it to touch glass. So that's where I'm at now. So now I'm going to transfer it. Don't forget to use your baby powder, by the way. I've wiped all mine away. So I now want to transfer this onto my backing. Hopefully intact. Pop you in. Oh, and cat fluff there. Get off. Okay, I'm trying my best to make sure that there's no air trapped underneath. So now what I want to do is trim away the excess clay, because there's no point having clay that you're not going to be needing just getting in your way. So I like to remove the bits that I know I'm not going to use. Just makes life a little bit easier for me personally anyway. And the next step is to close these gaps in the pattern that the texture plate has made. Before we slice it. So I just use the edge of my blade or my hand while it's stuck to the glass to kind of shunt it together, keeping it even as I go so that I don't distort the pattern. And then a little bit of a roll. Whoops. It's just a little bit of something there. Sorry, don't want that ruining my piece. So pushing all the pattern back together again. Make sure that the clay has fused back together. And straightening out the pattern where I've distorted it a little bit, and you can further fix this a bit later down the line as well. So the next step is to keep it stuck to your mat. It's better to work on glass or something ceramic, or something that's the clay is gonna stick to, because that helps you. And then I'm just going to start shaving away. And that's that. Now I do want to go a little bit deeper, simply because I want a clear image. And right now I've still got bits of white here. So I'm not going to go much deeper. It's very good grammar. I just want a clean image. Because what you'll find, please don't be too deep. Yeah. What you'll find is that on one side you have the white background and the red pattern, and then it fades out into a red background with a white pattern. And that's the image I'm kind of going for. So it's kind of like a yin and yang effect, if that makes sense. So take your time and get all your little bits up. So where there's white background, which isn't part of the image, I want to take away. Although I think I will save this piece. And just take these bits off. So here I've gone a little bit too deep, unfortunately, but we can still get away with it because luckily it's just the edge. So be mindful of how deep you're going, but still wanting to get this clear image. It's just a matter of finding the sweet spot. I want to try and get this little bit of white off here. Okay, I don't want to risk anymore. So I'll straighten that up a little bit. I might as well chop that off because that part is no use to me. And I'll tidy the top edge up as well. That's the same. Okay. So, sorry about the clanging. Let me see, where did I put that? So, oh yes, it will fit in. I wasn't sure whether this heart would go on here. Let's see if I can pop you down and get you a bit closer. So, we have this kind of effect where, like I say, it's got the lovely white background with the red image blending into the red background with the white image. And that's because we flipped the two pieces before we did the imprint. So I'm just going to need to do a little burnish. Whoops. Let's try and get it even. I'm still feeling that there's some little grooves in there. I'm also being quite mindful of trying to keep these edges straight. I don't want to distort it too much, if I can help it. I'll just try and gently rub that little groove away. I want it to be totally smooth. Okay, feels nice and smooth. So I'm not going to use a glove on this one because I do want it flat for the step, especially for afterwards. For what I'm going to do with it afterwards, I need it to be flat. So I'll just get that blend in the centre best I can, so it's got even red and white on each side. Don't you dare. Okay. And there we have a little retro heart. So I will pop this on a tile and I'll bake it and I'll be back. Hi. Okay, so for this next part, you'll have seen in the last little clip that I have taken some silver plated copper wire, and this is a 1.5mm, so it's fairly thick and fairly sturdy. But that's because when I flattened it, it's given me quite a wide edge, and it just about sits nicely on the edge of this. So I'm going to wrap it, excuse me, I'm going to wrap it around the heart. Now this is something that takes a lot of patience and a lot of adjusting. So what I'll do is I'll show you the beginning of it, and then I'll fast forward the video so you don't have to watch me do the whole thing, because it takes a while. So to start with, I need to get to the point where the unhammered part, let's focus please, hello. The unhammered part meets the hammered part, and then I can use that part to make a bend in the wire. So that's the bit that's going to sit in here. Let's move you down a minute. That's the bit that's going to sit in here. Okay. And I've left this quite long deliberately so that I've got some something to grip, because this is so hard at the end when we're wrapping the loop. If you've not got enough to hold on to, it's really difficult. So that is longer than the actual heart that I'm going to make, simply because I need to get a good grip on it. So that's where that starts. So then you need to hold on to it. Easier said. Get pliers ready. Hold on to it and kind of shift it round, and then hold on to it again to get an estimate of where the heart point will be, and then grip it. And then we can give that a little turn. I don't want to make that too harsh because this is quite rounded, and I want it to sit in quite nicely. So holding that down, I'll just do a double check, and that sits in there nicely. And then the other way, you can then hold it from the point at the bottom and line it up, and then just basically do the same thing, pull it round and get a guesstimate as close as you can as to where that end bend will be. Like I said, it can be fiddly, it takes a bit of patience, so you may have to just stick with it. That I think is roughly about there, maybe a bit more, like that. So I'll just define that a little bit more. And that comes together like that. Now that's not quite heart shaped yet. I want it to be flush with the heart. So what I do is just gently make tiny little bends with your pliers. Move along, make another one, move along, make another one, and do that until you've got a nice little curve. Try not to make really harsh turns, so that you shape it into a nice curve. And you can keep checking back. And making sure that you're keeping the roundness, keeping the roundness of the wire. And I will fast forward from this point, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I've got that straighter now. So I'm using this 0.8mm silver plated copper wire, and I make sure I get that point in at the bottom. So if that's sitting nicely, the rest should line up. Better doing it down. And what I'll do, you need 3 hands for this, but I figured a way to do it. So where you hold the handle on your pliers, also hold on to the wire. Okay, like that. And then you can use your pliers to grip hold. Make sure everything's in place. To grip hold of your wire, and then you can pull that thinner wire round. Sorry, you can pull that thinner wire round and wrap. I told you it was fiddly. This doesn't have to be particularly neat because you're going to be covering it up anyway, but it does need to be tight. Oh, I'm holding my breath while I'm doing this. Okay, so that's that. And then we can nip off these little bits. Try to nip off at the back. Even though it won't be seen, it's still a habit, so is this. Just nip down the end so that it doesn't catch on anything. Okay. So now we need to put our loop on. But first of all, I'm going to trim this off. If I can, I hope I can. These aren't the best, to be fair. Nip that off. Come on. Yes. Okay, so what I want to do is make a loop. Not this way, but this way. So I'm going to start with bending my wire towards me. So we end up with that. And then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and pop it right to the very bottom and wrap it around the top one. Now, like I said, this wire is extremely tough, which is why I've got a lot, because it's easier to grip and pull if you've got more to grab hold of. So then I'll grab my pliers again, and I'm going to hold on to that loop to secure it in place, and then scarf all the way to the bottom. Like that. And I want to cut this off at the back. Just wrapped it a little bit too far, over enthusiastic. So I'm going to take that off there. I don't know if this has been in focus, I hope so. Take that off there. And then tuck it in. Nice and neatly, so that it doesn't catch on clothing. straighten everything up. And there is our pendant. So just to quickly finish off, what I've done is I've just given this another little buff. It was already sand and buffed before, but it does go dull the more you handle it. So I've rebuffed it. This is my practice piece, and there's a little bit of a difference with this in the orientation of the loop. So when it went on the necklace, it was facing this way. So I've added a couple of little jump rings to correct that, so when it hangs the right way. And then I also realised that I didn't have any chain left, so I sat and I made my own little necklace to go with it, and it's just a simple seed bead link. So 3 seed beads, a loop on each end, and then join them together as you go. So that's that. I've just added onto that a little bit of an extended chain to make it a little bit more fancy, and a lobster clasp on that end. Just simple, really. And also a little tip, what I've done with this one, I didn't feel like this one was quite as secure. This one's a little bit better. If you feel that your heart might fall out, I've put a little bit of liquid clay over the top of it and rebaked it and then buffed it, and that comes up to a lovely shine as well. But I made sure that a little bit of clay, liquid clay, did fall onto the sides a little bit, and I've done that front and back, and I'm hoping that that'll just make it like feel stronger. It's definitely not going to come out now. So you can do that if you feel that you've not done it tight enough, or that it's not sitting quite right and it might pop out. Just a little extra security, and plus it's a nice little extra shine as well. It buffs up really nice. Put a little bit of resonance wax on that as well, so it comes up beautifully. There's wax on this one too. So there you have it, we're all done. I know it's a bit of a long one. Would have been a lot longer if I hadn't sped up those bits, believe me. I think the original footage was about 2 hours. So thanks for sticking with it. I know it's fiddly, it's not for everybody. But yeah, if you want to give it a go, let me know what the results are, and let me see what you do. You can pop some photos over onto my Facebook if you like, HappyHands-uk Facebook. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.